Well, good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock, and I want to make sure we start on time so we can have enough time for everyone who wants to provide comment or questions. So we're here this evening. I'll start with an introduction. I'm not going to assume everyone knows who I am. I am Ruben Aurelio. I am the superintendent of Vallejo City Unified School District. And this evening, we have a presentation regarding phase 2 of closure and consolidation. And this town hall is really intended for the community, both school, site level community, to give you all an opportunity to, one, hear why we're in this predicament of a phase 2 closure, and also for us to gather and hear from you all questions and comments you might have. This is town hall number 1. We do have 3 scheduled. We will do a second in October and a third in November. Different locations, so we will inform you all when those locations are solid. We want to make sure we're providing the community ample opportunity to come out and see us. So before I jump in, I do want to acknowledge we have a board member, Dean Hodges, in the audience. Thank you for being here this evening. We also have, I don't know where they all went, we have our 3 student board members with us this evening as well. They might be in the lobby. They're taking pictures, of course. And then we have staff. I'll introduce the staff when we get into the Q&A because they're going to be joining me on stage. And we will begin. So first and foremost, I want to just make sure we are all being considerate and respectful. We know that these conversations can get really emotional. No one, not a single person, either that works in the district or has to make these decisions, enjoys closing schools. It is one of the last things we want to do. It's not something we like to do, but it is something we have to consider. So just some meeting norms. Obviously, when you have an opportunity to be on the microphone, remember to be respectful. Try to stay on topic. Tonight is about closure and consolidation. It's not about the traffic somewhere or something else. It's really about focused on this conversation. Stay open-minded. You're going to hear information about why the district is in the predicament they're in and why we're trying to work our way through this. And know and accept and expect non-closure. We're not making decisions tonight. We are taking the information that we hear. As you can see the cameras, we are recording this event. So when you return home, please share with friends and family that this is recorded and something that they can return to get the information directly from us. We're going to be taking what we hear tonight and it will be incorporated into the equity impact analysis, which is another component that the school board will be considering as part of decision making. So just a brief overview of what is phase 2, and I think before we jump into phase 2, we need to remember and know what phase 1 was. So last year was my first year as superintendent of Vallejo City Unified School District. I joined July of 2024. And in the middle of coming on board, we also knew that there was some challenges related to budgeting. And we were in the process of exiting state and county receivership. If you've been with Vallejo for many, many years, going 20 years back, this district had to take out a $60 million loan at that point just to stay solvent. During that time, the district lost its local control. A state-appointed administrator was brought in. And when you go into state receivership, you do really lose that local control. They get to come in and just make decisions. And in that span of time, I will get to the slides, we've had school closures. We've been right-sizing or downsizing our district for decades now. Most recently, phase 1, which was decided last February, where the board decided we would be closing 2 schools for this current school year. So we did eventually close Mare Island Health and Fitness Academy, and we closed Loma Vista Environmental. Those 2 closures were made. Families have transitioned to new schools. Many of our families at Loma Vista did transition to Solano Wiedemann, which is right next door, but not every family did, and we know that. Mare Island Health and Fitness was coupled with a relocation of Vallejo Charter School from their original site to the site on Mare Island. and we welcome those Mare Island students to Vallejo Charter if they chose to do so. And so Vallejo Charter currently sits over 500 students now at the Mare Island site. So that was phase one. Phase one was also coupled with upwards of 12 million in budget reductions. Just to paint a picture, a school closure does not close the gap on a budget deficit. It helps, but it doesn't fully close the gap. So it's always going to be in combination with other factors to control our budget. So that was phase one. We have now entered phase two. Perfect. Okay, so phase two, you see on the board up here on the screen, 7 different schools that are listed. That does not mean we're closing 7 schools, just to be clear. When we select these schools, we're examining multiple combinations. If we close one school, do we move kids to another school? How does closing one impact the other? So we're both looking at which schools make the most sense to close or consolidate, and which schools might be a receiving school that would be impacted by gaining students. So these are the 7 schools. We have Cooper Elementary that currently sits, it's really small on my screen, so about 360 students, and these are fairly updated numbers based on our enrollment currently. Federal Terrace, which has a student population of 245 students. Highland Elementary has 516 students. John Finney Education Complex. Now, John Finney Education Complex houses 5 different programs. It includes John Finney High School, which is our continuation high school. It also houses the Everest program, which is for our special education programming, independent study, virtual academy, and leadership. So there's 5 programs that make up John Finney Education Complex. So that's why you see a low number of students there, because they're small programs that support students, predominantly high school age students. Lincoln Elementary is currently sitting at 104 students, and that is a TK through 3rd grade school. It was TK to 2 last year. We expanded it to 3rd grade this current year. Pennycook Elementary currently sits around 396 students. And Stephen Manor Elementary sits at 421. So these are the 7 schools that the board tasked us with examining for closure and consolidation. So the logistics of the decision, it's really important to note that the staff, myself as superintendent, the executive cabinet, principals, everyone on the team, we were working on coming up with a recommendation. But the ultimate decision does lie with the school board. The school board will decide based on the recommendations we bring forward, all the studies we're doing, the equity impact analysis, the 7-11 committee, which was formed over the summer to look at surplus property and to give us a ranking of the 7 schools. All of that information is going to be presented to the board. They will have their own study sessions, which begin on the 24th of September. They will be doing that work in public because they hold those meetings in public. And we guide them, but ultimately the board has that decision-making power. They might agree with the recommendation of staff, they might amend those recommendations, or they might completely disagree with those recommendations. And that's the power of a board. They have to decide. And we know with a school board that makes up 5 members, 3 of them have to vote for whatever that decision is. The other thing I want to add is that the decision that's being made, and I am being aggressive with the timeline, I think it's only fair to our community, to our staff, to our students, that we know where we're headed, and I'm asking for December to have those decisions made. It gives us time to plan, it gives us time to make sure the transitions, if and when they happen more smoothly than what we've experienced even this past year in phase 1. We know we have things to improve. And so we want to make sure we're ready for that. So the decision that will be made coming December 17th, I believe, December 17th is the board meeting, those changes would affect the 26-27 school year. So it doesn't impact the current school year. We're not changing things midway or mid-year. These are decisions that impact 26-27. So our ultimate goal when it comes to closure and consolidation And I know this is going to sound counter to, when you think of closing a school, how is that a positive thing? We have a strategic plan. We know that we are trying to build programs that are attractive to our community and our families, that support every student and their success. We know that there's an opportunity to enhance our programs. We know that ultimately, if we're not fiscally solvent, we lose control. And we want to avoid that at all costs. We do not want to go backwards. We are not going to be seeking another state loan. We're not going to let that happen. And I know that our board members are in agreement with that. They're not going to let that happen. We just got our control back. And then ultimately for us, we have a large footprint across this district. When I just started, we had 20 campuses and some campuses that already have been closed that are used for different reasons or in the process of being sold. The number of campuses we have for the number of students that we have, that's a large footprint. We have a number of spaces that we still pay to have them electrified, to have them cleaned. All of that adds to the cost in running a district. So all these factors are playing into the decisions we're trying to get to. So yes, we just closed 2 schools last year, so why are we doing this again? Which is why we talk about phase 2. So this chart, many of you have seen this chart before. This is the projected decline of student enrollment. As you can see, going even just back to 2020, we were over 11,000 students. Going back decades, and some of you have been here that long, you probably remember a district with 20,000 plus, 23,000 plus, no less. This district was built for that. We are sitting around 9,600 students now. I will say the early numbers on our enrollment this year are positive, which is a good thing. We're really excited about that. We're excited about, I think in the first 2 weeks of school, we were showing that we were roughly 400 students above our projection. And that's a great thing. And we want that to continue. We want to see that projection to take that red line and flatten it out and have it start growing. We also know that the decline in enrollment is multifaceted. It's not one thing that has driven the enrollment down this way. We know cost of living is a factor. We know that, still there, great, thank you. We know that families have choice. We have charter schools that are in our Vallejo City vicinities. We also know that neighboring school districts have no problem welcoming our students. And all those are factors that play into why this declining enrollment has continued. Another factor is our performance. We know that families do have options. We know that our performance is not where it needs to be. We must improve. We must improve the outcomes for our students, both academically, and must improve the outcomes for our families when they send their kids to Vallejo City schools. And that is something we are doing a lot of work around. High-level professional learning for our teachers, supporting our classrooms, and trying to take those resources that we have and concentrate them in our campuses so we can get the better outcomes for our students. So the financial challenges, these are real challenges. If you watched KTVU today, you probably heard a number like 15.5 million. That is the target of both a deficit that we need to address going into the 26-27 school year. That is only part of the story, because in the following year, 27-28, that's an additional 16.5 million. So over a 2-year span, we need to identify either in revenue generation or budget reductions, $32 million. So just for context, our annual budget is roughly $200 million. So it just gives you a sense of how much we're talking about when we talk about this deficit. And there's a lot of factors that play into it. When our students choose other schools in other districts or even charter schools, their funding travels with them. So our per pupil expenditures, our per pupil revenue we get per student is around $15,000 to $16,000 per student. So multiply that by 4 or 5, even 1,000 students. That's your $15.5 million deficit. I mean, there's a straight line you can draw between them. We also know that after the pandemic, we lost or used a lot of the one-time funding. And that is not a uniquely Vallejo City thing. That is something every district in Solano County, pretty much every district in the state of California is dealing with. That one-time funding has gone away. We added a lot of resources to schools during that one-time funding, and now we have decisions to make. We can't keep funding everything the same way. So we have to cut some things, and that's part of the puzzle. We're happy to gain our local control because we get to decide our outcome fully. We don't have to wait for the state or the county to tell us you have to do it this way. We get to decide which way we do it. And like I said, we want to make sure the resources we do have are concentrated so that our kids have the best possible outcomes. So these are just a snapshot of some of the socioeconomic challenges that has led to this picture. We know that birth rates have decreased over time. Let's be honest, kids are expensive to raise, right? They really are. We know housing prices have gone up, especially in the Bay Area. And last time I checked, Vallejo is the Bay Area, and Bay Area costs are expensive. And just, try buying, at least eggs have come down some, but a dozen eggs, it's really expensive. So the cost of living has increased. All those factors play into the decline in enrollment. All right, so on the screen, you probably see 51%. So last year I stood up here at a town hall during phase 1, and that number was 46%. This is the school site utilization. This is the capacity number we talk about. Now, in most districts, the target for that capacity is somewhere around 85%. So we have a lot of room to either grow by adding students or consolidate programs. And this is the number we need to address, this capacity number. When we were still under county and state receivership, this is a number that was really always a focus of their time with us and saying, you need to do something about this. You can't continue to function the way you are when you're sitting with schools that are half empty or half full. Depends on how you want to look at it. So what has the district done to help stop schools closing? And this is something, I don't want to stay on the negative side. We are doing some amazing things in Vallejo City Unified. We are taking a closer look at every budget line item. We, if you work for the school district, you know that we've frozen some budget strings. We have really tightened up on our expenditures. We're looking at pretty much every dollar coming in and every dollar going out because we know we need to tighten up. We can't spend the way we used to. We're trying to optimize the services we have for our kids. That also means evaluate. We love to bring contractors to our district. We love to bring programs to our district, but we have to make sure those programs we're bringing are actually working. So evaluation of programs, everything top to bottom, is really key in what we're doing. And we're taking that really close look. We also know that we need to make data-driven decisions. We can't just decide to do something because it feels right. What does the data tell us? An example of that, and this is related to transfers and transfers of students leaving our district. We looked at the data. Why do our students leave our district and say, choose American Canyon, which is in Napa Valley? And one of the pieces we kept seeing is that our students were signing up and saying they're going to American Canyon because they wanted to learn Mandarin. I see the face. So I said, fine. If that's what our community really wants, then why don't we offer Mandarin? The data's telling us we're losing 100, 200 kids a year because of Mandarin. So guess what our high schools offer now? They offer Mandarin, and not just at one high school, at 2 high schools. So there are options for our families. What that allows us to do is to say to our families, I'm sorry, you can't leave for Mandarin. We have Mandarin. Buy into the programs of VCUSD. Think VCUSD first. And so that's just one example where the data is really helping us make these decisions that are going to make our district better. We did obviously close a couple school sites. That was coupled with a relocation of Vallejo Charter, and I want to just make it clear that we did put services on that campus that is now the Family Resource Center. But that's a temporary solution. We are looking at potentially selling and leasing that property for additional revenue. But in the meantime, we don't want to leave an empty campus. We know that in our neighborhoods that causes blight. We also know we have to protect those campuses and pay for security. And so why not use a resource we have in a temporary measure while we go down the path of either selling or leasing that property, which would generate revenue for the district. Lastly, and hopefully you are connected to all our social media platforms, we are doing a tremendous job of trying to communicate and tell our story, tell the VCUSD story that is positive. There are a lot of wonderful things happening at school sites, district-wide, and we want to make sure people know about that because we want them to think about our district before they think of anything else. Many of the families that were asking to leave us had never tried any of our schools. They're leaving just on perception alone. So we want them to give us a shot. So this is just a little historical data. This shows you, going back to 2003, the different campuses that have closed over time. It is a little small. So at the very top, you have Davidson Elementary. That was a campus that eventually became the current Vallejo Adult School campus. Springstown Middle eventually became Vallejo Charter School, but now is the Family Resource Center. That is also the campus we are looking at potentially selling to generate revenue. I think people have strong feelings about this one. Hogan Middle School, or was Hogan High School, became Hogan Middle School. Vallejo Middle School is the current location for John Finney Education Complex. And if you were following along in our 7-Eleven committees this summer, there was some energy and a recommendation from the committee that maybe in the future, we look at bringing back another comprehensive middle school. Because currently we only have one comprehensive middle school, which is Hogan, and then we have other versions of K-8 schools. So that was some of the discussion we had in the committee as well. Wiedemann Elementary was moved and changed, closed, and then became Elite Charter School. Finney High School, the original Finney High School at Hobbs Street, that became GTA Charter Schools. Everest Facility, that was leased to GTA Charter Schools as well. Farragut Elementary, there's a lease purchase option for the city of Vallejo. Franklin Middle School currently has a lease with GVRD, that is the sports complex, but we also have a lease, and we're really excited about this. We're bringing in Rising Stars, which is gonna bring in special education options that are local. Many times we have to send our students, when we can't serve them within Vallejo City, we send them to a non-public school. Rising Stars is a non-public school. That will be in our backyard now. So that'll actually help us in the end. Beverly Hills Elementary, that was sold to the Solano County. That will soon be opening up as an early child development center. That will be run by the county. And then the last two I mentioned, Loma Vista Elementary and Mare Island. So Mare Island is now the new home of Vallejo Charter, and Loma Vista houses district programs. We have an early childhood program that we're developing, including expanded learning and after-school programming, and we still have a strong partnership with the farm and making that farm not just tied to one school, but really tied to the district and making sure the district is using the farm. So what can all of us do to help? Well, it's pretty simple. Think VCUSD first. We need not only students to come, but students to attend every day. We've talked about the importance of attendance. So budgets are made based on enrollment, the number of kids we have, but the funding is driven by the attendance, the number of kids that attend every day. We are budgeting based off of 89% attendance. 1% increase district-wide equates to about $1 to $1.5 million of additional revenue. That's the difference attendance makes. So it's really important that when you have neighbors attending schools, that the kids go to school every day, because that's the difference. That is essentially my presentation. I do want to provide space and time for you all to share comments and ask questions. Now, when it comes to questions, we're going to do our very best to answer live. There might be questions we're not able to answer live, but that we will try to incorporate it into future presentations. Before you come up to the mics, I know you're ready, I do want to bring up on stage the executive cabinet team. That's Heather Topacio, our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, because they're going to help me answer some of these questions. We have Matthew Chamberlain, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. We have Ruben Fernandez, not to be confused with Ruben Aurelio Superintendent. That is the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations. We have our Director of Communications, Selena Bagyao. And before I forget, because I didn't see him initially, I want to introduce, just a wave, board member Carlos Flores, who has joined us this evening. If you don't mind waving. Okay, folks, so we are going to turn it over to you all. We have 2 microphones set up on either side. It's not a huge crowd, so minute to 2 minutes tops, I would say. So we have enough time. If you're interested in asking a question, please step forward and we will have you there. Before I begin, student trustees, I introduced you weren't in the room. Don't feel bad. Could we give our round of applause? We have 3 student trustees representing our 3 high schools. We're really proud of the work they're doing and the fact that we have representation from all 3 high schools. You were out in the lobby when I introduced you. So, go back and look at the tape. Okay, we're ready for you.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm Judith Klaus, Mental Health Support at John Finney Complex. And I just felt that we needed a voice in this today. I know you speak a lot about attendance, and that's maybe one of our major goals. We have a lot of McKinney-Vento kids on our campus, and a lot of, let me back up. So when Dr. Clark put this group together, everybody was like, oh, it became very successful, okay, in my opinion. And we're coexisting very well with the SPED. We have SPED, like you said, Independent Study, Everest, and everybody is doing a very good job under the tutelage of our principal, Ms. Whitson. I'm feeling that if we move our campus, it's going to be a loss because of transportation. If attendance is the thing, we're centrally located. The buses are there. They don't have to catch 3 or 4 buses to get to wherever we need to go. And with the resources that our children have right now, it's difficult to get here. So, I just kind of want to make a pitch out for them. I think that our campus is thriving. Our attendance is doing very well. We have a representative here from John Finney.
That's right.
And, we're doing everything in our power to make sure that our numbers go up and our kids are, successful. The leadership is another whole, so we have the toughest of tough kids. How's that? I won't say the baddest, but we have the toughest. So even though our enrollment may be 200 and something, let's do that times 5. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're maintaining that very well. I think that the area that we're in is like perfect for the kids because a lot of resources are not there for transportation. And a lot of kids, again, are McKinney-Vento. And it's just been a good thing, I feel, over the years. And I think to throw a monkey in that wrench would really, our revenues, like you said, every student counts. And we're fighting like on the daily. And I think our attendance is up. If you check right now, we're kind of bumping it up. And, as a mental health person, I try to see everybody on the campus and make sure that I'm following, VCUSD first. and I like that. And another thing I'm really impressed about the things you're doing. I've been around a minute. I'm not from Vallejo, but I guess after 20 years I am from Vallejo. But after 20 years, I guess I'm here. So, I just want to say I do appreciate what you're doing. I can see the vision, want to be a part of a positive, but I do think that it's just for the type of children and all the things, adult transition, change is change. It has to happen. I understand that. I'm okay with change. But our kids are already been changed and switched and flipped. And with the disabilities and all the other things that are happening, I just think it'd be difficult for the parents who are already struggling with kids with disabilities and kids that are already McKinney-Vento. So we have a lot of challenges. I know we're gonna do what we do, but I just wanted to put that out there. And, if you look at our campus, we've only had one fight in 3 years. So we're definitely maintaining what we need to do. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it's me again. Cynthia Mack, also from John Finney campus. At your last meeting, I came up so that you put a face to my lengthy email about how well our campus was doing. I'm the adult transition teacher. I've been working with adult transition since 2016. I have moved my entire classroom, packed up every book, every box, everything. This will be, if we move again, the 4th time. I would really like to stay. Like I explained, like she said, under our principal, we have managed to take 5 very different, diverse programs, put them all together on one site, and make it work. So we're not actually school classrooms. They're all individual specialized programs. Okay? And at first, nobody thought this was going to work. And it's working like a charm. We're become family, like I already stated to you before. And I think, like she said, it's going to be really difficult for our population to once again be dispersed. I also had some concerns about what was raised at the last meeting about some mold issues at the site where you were considering sending us to Pennycook, and also about the lack of parking in the area, where people got up and expressed it over and over again. We have at least 10 buses that come drop off people every day. We really need to have access to transportation, parking, all those things on whatever site that we go to. So we're just here to represent our campus and have you see the big picture and to actually maybe come and visit us and see how well we're actually doing. Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I'm student trustee from John Finney. I know I'm at the board meeting, so I've said something already, but just like Miss Judy said, we are a very unique campus. And I do feel like because we have individual programs, yes, you can split them up, but we get so used to everything, like that's our family right there. You move one, you can't move one without moving the other. It wouldn't be the same. But I don't want to speak much on that because I did at the board meeting. I do want to say before whoever else gets up and talks, I feel like the main thing that, I'm worried about is, I feel like all the student trustees hear me when I say this. We all say stuff about support. And I feel like the main thing for me is because we're talking about elementaries, to make sure that all of those kids in the move and whatever else is going on, I want to make sure that they all have the support. It's different moving campuses. When you're that young, you get so attached to your campus and where things are and the teachers you have. And I feel like if something is going to move, how are we going to support the students in making sure that they're comfortable at the schools? Even for our program, we have special needs kids who some kids, cling to stuff being the same. They don't do change very well. And because it's been there for so long and the stuff, everything is how it is to them, that's their comfortability, are we going to be making sure that they're comfortable too? I know comfortability is hard to talk about because we do have to do a lot of things to make sure that we stay afloat in general. So I don't want to talk about comfortability as far as, moving schools and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, we have to do what we have to do. But, I just want to make sure that the kids are supported and that they feel comfortable in the space that they're in, as far as anything moving or as far as, them being at the schools. And even, when stuff gets heated like this, or we have these meetings like this, and, people get to talking about their feelings, teachers being here for a very long time, that's all understandable. But the kids going to those schools, when we're speaking, I think especially for me, I'm speaking from the students when I say we need the support too. The teachers need the support, but the kids need it. And the teachers, for me, well, I graduate this year, but for me, it's if I were to have to move, it's like, okay, well, when we have to move, everything's gonna be new. Teachers might not be set up fully. The schools might not be set up for us fully. Are you going to support us in making sure that we're still comfortable on that campus? Are you gonna make sure that you're checking in with the students, make sure that the students feel like they have people there that are helping them through a difficult time? Because just like it's difficult for the adults and the teachers moving schools they've been at for years, it's difficult for the students to leave the only thing that they know. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. That's better. Good evening. I'm Lori Tackmeyer, and I have been one of those district teachers who've been here a long time. I've been here longer than almost everybody on the stage and all the board members. I have been a parent in this district. My child was raised here at VCUSD. And if you know anything about me, you know I fight for the children. You know that my battle is for our children and our kids. Our staff comes second, but my kids are the most important thing for me. I have been nothing but a number in this district for more years than you have been here. I have been a number when Cave, which was not mentioned on that scene, was closed. We packed our bags before graduation. Our boxes were full in our room. Our kids didn't have the good experience. There was no place for them to be because we had to be out 2 days after school was done. That support hasn't been here for the whole time I have been a teacher. Sorry, I scratched out a whole bunch of things. Tonight I'm gonna fight for our students again. I'm tired of having to do this though. I'm tired of having to say that the district's data is incorrect. I'm tired of having to say that the district is not supporting us. I'm tired of having to say the district is not doing what's right for our children and our staff. I'm tired of this fight. You haven't heard from me in 4 or 5 years because I'm tired. But I've been fighting for 26 years for our children, and it's not getting any better. You got a great message, VCUSD first. Oh, yeah, that's great. I like that message, but so far it's not translating very well. You claim we have to close schools. Okay, we gotta cut some money, I get that. Closing a school kind of saves $500,000, we learned those numbers last year. Keep security on it's $400,000. That's not really a very good savings, right? Repurposing it doesn't save you anything. So it's kind of like a wash there. Yes, we have some schools that are underserved. Yes, we have some schools that need more kids in them. Totally and completely get that. But data is not quite correct. You gave us some data that said schools are operating at 40%, but then you just put up 51%. You claim that Stephen has 9 to 11 empty classrooms. Not really. Where do you think our speech is? Where do you think our RSP is? Where do you think our bilingual people are? Where do you think our, hold on, I lost them. ASP, where do you think our VAPA is? All those rooms you see as empty, we see as serving our children. We see as providing space for our kids. You see them as not a classroom, open space. Where do you think we're gonna serve those kids? You currently have a classroom in Mary Ellen who has a curtain in her classroom. She has divided her space by a curtain. She has TK on one side, and well, they were gonna have speech, but no, they changed it to something else, and then they changed it to something else, and now it's empty, and she asked her to have that space. No, she can't have that space. I'm supposed to be meeting with her tomorrow to get the union involved, to get her space for her children. Her children who are supposed to be important. Can you teach speech over a TK classroom? No. What about our privacy? What about what our kids need? I've taught in a divided classroom. I started in 1999, and I had a 3/4 wall, and I shared a room with a second grade. It was not good. When my kids were quiet, hers were noisy. When her kids were noisy, mine were noisy, hers weren't. It was difficult to teach in. You want to attract teachers? You want to attract students? That is not VCUSD first. That is not putting our kids first. That is not giving our kids what they need. This teacher has actually volunteered to go to a self-standing classroom that's not a kindergarten room. It hasn't gone through just yet. We're going to work on that tomorrow. I just want to stand up here and say we are more than numbers. We are more than that data that's up on that screen. We are living, breathing human beings who are here for our children. And our children deserve better than what they're going through. And then combining 2 super schools. We already have 1 super school in the district. Word lot is huge, right? We have to manage lunches, we have to manage recesses, we have to manage resources, we have to manage roofs. Putting Pennycook and Stephan together creates a 2nd super school. Is that really what our kids need? You want to cram our kids into already overcrowded spaces? You want to take away our vapor rooms? You want to take away our speech rooms? You want to take away our rooms from our children to put more kids there? How is that VCUSD first? How is that our kids first? I want you to think about more than just numbers. I want you to think about our people. I want you to think about our kids. You want to know about our sites? Come down to them. Come visit them. Don't rely on that data. Because that data doesn't even have cave up there. That data doesn't even have all the information. And there's a lot more information that you can learn by visiting us. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi, sorry, I got my eyes dilated today, so.
No worries.
Good evening, my name is Chantel, and my child is a 6th grader at Federal Terrace Elementary. I just wanted to start by saying that this is actually the 5th elementary school she's been to in the Vallejo Unified School District. So, you know, she's been around, we've been around. But on a serious note, in just 1 month at Federal Terrace Elementary, we've seen a huge change, a huge transformation in my daughter. She's more confident, more social, and for the first time, honestly, she's more excited to go to school than we as her parents are. So that shows us that she's being supported at Federal Terrace Elementary. She's, you know, motivated to learn. Something at the school is really working. And I can't speak for the other elementary schools. You know, I think elementary schools is very much a necessity in the Vallejo City Unified School District. So just closing it just doesn't make any sense. You know, you're kind of taking away from the future generation that Vallejo is bringing, you know, and I just urge you guys to reconsider and think of other kids that need that level of support from the elementary schools that, you know, really care about the students more than the numbers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any others who wish to comment or ask questions? Just to remind you all, as we're recording this, the commentary you make is going to be part of the analysis. So the board will get those comments, they're going to hear. So this is a great opportunity to tell us.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Rebecca Pua. I'm a Vallejo citizen for 53 years. I went to Hogan High, graduated in '89. First of all, Superintendent, I want to thank you for your information. It's valid. It is what it is. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to go in this direction. I went to Pennicook. I went to Springstown Junior High. I went to Hogan. And so it's really sad and it's unfortunate. I remember my mom was a computer proctor teacher. Her name was Caroline Kai. She was at Pennicook. And there's actually 2 trees there that are in memory of her. She told us, when we were going to school, she reminded us, she said, you know, these charter schools are coming in here and they're gonna do some damage to these public schools. And you know what, Mom, you were right. And so now we're at where we're at. And I've been coming to these meetings. I wanna thank you for having us have this at this facility, because at the district it was kind of tight and we had to go to the outer room. But I really appreciate the information. It's very informative. I love these kids over here from the high schools. Continue to do what you're doing, being an advocate for this city, for this community, for your schools. Parents, we gotta get our kids to school. You know, that's where it starts, and it's all about attendance and getting them to school. And I think we as parents need to be, I know that we do have parents that are very involved, but our parents just need to be more involved. Vallejo is Vallejo. I grew up here. I love this town. I'm from Hawaii. It's a melting pot like Hawaii is. I just got back from the islands, and it's a great place to live. Unfortunately, there's some things that we need to fix, you know, and unfortunately, it's this. And how do we do that? I don't want Pennicook Elementary School to close. I don't want Stephan Manor. You're amazing. I don't want Stephan Manor to close. But where do we go from there? Like, how do we figure this out? So I'm going to do a lot of praying. And once again, we need to get our kids back to school. And parents, we need to be present. We need to be active. We need to be involved. Because if we're not involved, if we're not active, or we're not doing anything, what's going to happen? I mean, look where we're at right now in society. Look at this man that just died today for, you know, being a voice of what he believed in. And so, thank you again, Superintendent. Thank you, faculty and members. And I appreciate my voice to be able to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I just wanted to come with a sort of unique perspective. I'm a teacher, but I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 3 years, and my first child will be starting TK next year. And so the reason I'm here is because I really, really want to choose a Vallejo City School. And so I just want to let you all know that I'm one of those parents who's trying to decide and really, really wants to choose a Vallejo City School, and this process is going to be part of my decision. So I appreciate all the work and multiple meetings at town halls and thoughtful deliberation you're giving to it, because that's what I'm doing when I'm thinking about where to send my child to school. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm back.
You did know you're on the board, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry. I just want to say, because I'm somebody who came from another district, and so I understand, you know, parents having to make that decision between, and my mom was one of the parents that was hesitant because we came from Benicia, so difference. But for all the teachers and everybody saying, as a school, how do we help? How do we help with decisions? You know, how do we help with stuff staying the way it is? For me, the way I see it, just as a person that is in the community, came from one to another, I've been to multiple schools out here, you need to advocate. You know, being here is one way of advocating, but another way of advocating is within your school. You know, you lose kids to other districts. You lose kids because stuff happens at schools, you know, situations happen. I mean, for me, the way I see it is you advocate through your school, you know, you help the kids, you listen to your kids. With my school, I know one thing that has been way better this year is them listening to the kids. When kids have an issue, I feel like because there is so much going on, you tend to, it goes in one ear and out the other because it's a smaller issue. But if a kid is bringing it to an adult, if a kid is bringing it to the office, it's big to them. You know, you listen to your kids. You can advocate by, I mean, even us adding Mandarin programs at some of the schools, you know, that helps because that's what they want to do. If there is in your way, in your school, ways you can add stuff, like our school has added book clubs, our schools have added different ways for us to do stuff at lunch because we don't have our phones, you know. You listen to the kids and you advocate and you keep kids by the way that you treat them and the way that stuff is going at your school. As far as, you know, us closing schools, it's a situation that, yes, they have a say in, but ultimately, you know, we have to do what is right for the district to stay afloat and keep going through many years to come. And, you know, I say this because even though I'm graduating, I have siblings who are still in elementary, middle school, and high school who will still continue to go to this district, and I'll still continue to be here. And, you know, for me, I see ways that, you know, we can get better in ways that, or different things that, you know, we need to work on throughout the schools. And I feel like it starts by listening to your kids. You know, I think that when you listen to the kids, it's the way for you to advocate and the way for you to keep kids, and not only keep kids, but add kids to your school. I'm done talking. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I have to leave soon, but I'll add a quick point real quick. Now, I actually came from Oakland to Vallejo. I came here in, I think it was first grade, and I've been in Vallejo school since elementary school, since first grade. I've been to Wardlaw, I've been to VCS, I've been to, and now Jesse Bethel High School, which is where we are right now. Go Jags! I'll clap it up for my school. But I know it's tough, and as a district, the district can't appease everyone, and we can't make everyone happy because that's what leaders do. We make hard decisions, but we make right decisions because I went to VCS, and obviously VCS got relocated, and I have a sibling that was going to VCS, 2 siblings actually, and it was tough, you know, the fact that they had to now go across the bridge to Mare Island to go to middle school, right? And it's hard for my parents, but we as a family realized, you know, there's a decision that the district had to make because of budget restrictions, right? It's tough. So we all understand y'all. We understand that it may be difficult for y'all, but just know we're not doing this to work against y'all because we're working for the students of VCUSD because it's always VCUSD first. And we're going to make sure you guys, we can give you all the best we can give you. But just know the district isn't working against you guys. We're working for you, and we always will.
Thank you. All right, I'm using my teacher wait time.
I'm sorry. Okay. He left, but he inspired me. I really was just going to sit and listen. So hopefully he can hear me from the outside that he inspired me. I love to hear the young leaders speaking. They inspire me. My name is Miss Sophia Robinson. I am a proud Panda Pennycook teacher, and I'm going to look over at this young lady right here named Miss Lori, and I'm going to say to you, I appreciate what you said today. I really do. I've heard you talk. I've heard your passion. But today you were speaking VCUSD first. So I appreciate that. You guys got a hard task, you do. To the young ones though, these young people that are talking about graduating and that are talking about their families making the transitions and moving on and accepting, I always say to my students, don't be afraid of chaos. Change happens as opportunities surface. Chaos. And when we see chaos, we lose it. We think we can't figure it out, but we really can. Because for every shift and every change, there's an opportunity waiting for us. This district is not a dead, dying district. The city is not gone yet, but there are some things that need to change, not just within a district, but within a city as a whole. We can't make that change. All we can do is fight for what we have now, which is our school district. It is out of receivership. We have control. So we should try to make the best plans, but we have to make them for our students first. We have to think about those strategic moves that we have to make, like chess playing. But we also have to think about, is it a win-win? So as a leader in musical, we think of these principles and we think of beginning with the end in mind and putting first things first. And is it a win-win? There's a way we can come out on top as a win-win. There is. But you have a hard task. You do. The board, the young board members, they have a hard task because they have to sit back and learn how to be the future leaders. And these decisions may fall in their lap one day and they need to know what to do. Miss Pure, she got up here and she said one thing that was real important. Our parents. Tomorrow we will have a parent network at Pennycook, and we are inviting the parents to come in. The teachers have volunteered to stay over and answer questions from the parents, offer homework support to the parents, explain to them what their children are doing in the school. And then we're trying to develop this PTO situation where we didn't used to have to struggle for things like this, but we are now. At the end of the day, our babies are what matters. And if we can all collectively come together, reason together, and work together, we'll come up with some way to save the district, to salvage the schools, to implement every program that needs to be implemented, and to bring us back on top. They leave because there's nothing here for them. They leave because their children can't get enough out of the education system. So they go to the other districts where they're offering band and art and drama and clubs and different things for them to do, where the resources are there for the McKinney-Ventos and for the foster children and for the dishoused children. That's what they're doing. And while we yet can't change what's outside these walls and all the things that we have to see and pass and look at, we can build from the inside and change what we offer. And that's what we've got to do, but we've got to do it together as a family, okay? That's all. My hat goes off to you guys.
Greetings all.
Greetings.
My son graduated from Hogan in '93. So I no longer have a child in the system, but I do have a concern for what's in the system right now. And I came for knowledge, just to kind of understand what's going on. On the news, I saw all of the listings of the schools that are now wanting to close. I guess from that list, you will pick certain numbers, or how does that work?
Sorry, did you miss the presentation?
I'm sorry I came late.
Oh,
so
no problem.
I just wanted to know
So-
how long do you take to make that decision for the schools of the?
So the 7 schools that are listed are the 7 schools that we are examining potentially for closure or consolidation. We're not going to close 7.
No, I understand that.
There'll be some combination or version of that. We are doing, like tonight's town hall, we will have 2 more town hall meetings for community input. We also have board study sessions because the board members ultimately will make the decision, and that decision will be made by December 17th at a board meeting. And the decisions that are made in December go into effect for the 26-27 school year, the following school year.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. You want a microphone?
This is the interpreter. I work at Pennycook at elementary school for 16 years now.
And if I can be honest, I'm not specifically loyal to any building or location. I am loyal to the students. My preference is that if we can serve the students, it doesn't matter what location or building, it doesn't matter where it is. The importance is that service. I noticed recently that we have so many third-party members, agency workers at Pennycook. And is that really what's best to serve the students? It doesn't matter where all these people are coming from, different agencies, but the point is that we need to figure out how we are consolidating and serving the students best. We're trying to save money, possibly through shutting down schools, but also maybe depending less on agencies and third-party employees. So my perspective is the classified employees, the classified staff that I'm seeing, if we're minimizing our dependency on agency, where all that money that we're throwing towards agency third-party workers, that would help if we were bolstering classified staff instead. So my hope is that student services can be improved, and we can do that through consolidating our work and using less third-party employees. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I wholeheartedly agree. We need to lessen agency services. That is a means to an end, and we need to make sure we're serving our students, and sometimes we have to rely on these agencies. But it is something we are definitely working to reduce.
And also, if I can just say one thing.
Hold on.
Apologies. That is also part of the point that I'm thinking of if we're consolidating schools. Hopefully, I understand you're thinking about saving money, but hopefully we're also being able to save by reducing our dependency on agencies. So, thank you.
Okay, folks, do I have any more questions or comments? If not, you get a gift of time back. I do want to thank you all, those who came and were here for hearing from the district. I want you to continue to stay engaged in this work. As I mentioned earlier, this is town hall number 1. We will have a town hall each month as we lead into the decision. Also, as a reminder, and I think we have a slide on this coming up, so you can see the timelines. So in addition to the town hall, which is really the greatest opportunity for the community to give us feedback, we also have regular board meetings and board study sessions. So on Wednesday of next week, we have a regularly scheduled board meeting. It is the first opportunity where we are receiving the equity impact analysis report. So that report and a presentation will be posted by Friday evening, and that'll be on our website. The board that evening will receive this draft report. It's not an opportunity really for the board to ask questions about the report. That will happen the following week at the board study session. That's where the board and student board members are really going to dig into that data and the information we receive from that equity impact analysis. However, whenever we introduce items like this at board meetings, there's always an opportunity to have public comment. So if you want to attend the regular board meeting on the 17th, the EIA, the equity impact analysis, it is an opportunity to do public comment. If you want to read the nearly 100-page report that will be posted this weekend, it's great reading for you. It will be available. And that report is in draft form for a reason. The final version of that report will come to the board in November. And that's after these town hall meetings, after we get all the input that's going to be added to that report. Our second town hall meeting is in November. Sorry, go back. The date we know about the date. It is Monday, November 13th. We are working on determining location. It might be at Vallejo High School. We might, changing the location so we can really try to get more of the community involved. We're also considering potentially doing a virtual version because we know in our current climate, there are a lot of families who don't want to come out to public events. So we'll consider that as well because we want to give our families and our community all the opportunities they have to speak to us. I do want to point out, so the December 17th, which is the regular board meeting, where we would make the decisions, the ultimate decisions, location says to be determined, and that's, we know how small our boardroom is, and we anticipate that this is going to be an evening where a lot of folks want to come out. So we're looking at an alternative location. Potentially, if everything is up and running, we will hold it at the Hogan Theater, which we're really excited about. That might be the space. The goal is to make sure it's ready for us by December, and that way we can accommodate as many people that want to come out for that meeting. But that is the timeline right now. That's what we're trying to stick to around the decisions on closures and consolidations. If we go to the next slide, the QR code takes us to the website where we update all the information. So if that date is wrong, we'll make sure it's corrected. That is always up. Our district website has current information around closures and consolidations. So lastly, you can follow us on social media. We have 6 different platforms, so choose your flavor, your social media platform. They're there for you. And thank you all for coming out tonight.